How you doing, man?
I hate bad dialogue. It's coarse, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah, one of these films is about, like, tax or something. Fucking hell. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a film about, like... I think there's a way to make a film about money laundering and make it good. Therefore, there's probably a way to make a film about tax and make it good. But this isn't the way to make a film about tax and make it good.
No, it really isn't. But before we get to that, we've got the 10-minute bullshit to do, and I don't have anything this week.
You don't have anything?
I don't have anything.
That is absurd. I'm not entirely sure how to feel about that. I'm offended. I'm angry. In fact, you know what? I think I'm going to call the police on you.
Quite right. I deserve it. You know, this is like one of the only things I need to do during the week, and I just didn't bother my arse. But yeah, what about you? Have you got anything? Any weird, rabid thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I've got something which I've been squirreling away for a long time, just in case of this very event.
Right, I'll spin the wheel then, and you can tell us. Right? Okay.
Okay.
Spin it a bit more.
I can't tell if the wheel stopped or not. Discord can't handle that noise for some reason.
It's definitely stopped. Don't worry.
Okay, it's definitely stopped. Fantastic. Okay. One of my most controversial opinions.
Uh-huh.
I don't really like the films of Christopher Nolan.
Any of them?
Any of them.
You like The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
What do you mean,
but
yeah?
I don't like
We've done a full podcast on it saying it was really good.
Right, okay. I do like The Dark Knight, but my point is that I don't like it as much as people who I think are sort of in the Christopher Nolan cult. I don't think I like it quite as much as those people do.
Right.
I think generally speaking, I think The Dark Knight was kind of a lot of a lot of bowling pins all lined up in the right way, and Christopher Nolan happened to swing the bowling ball just right. I think all these other films are good.
Whoa,
yeah, okay,
Lewis,
but
this is
what?
whoa. You're telling me, right, that film was just it was good by chance? Is that what you're going with?
Okay, even more of a hot take. I think most films are either good or bad by chance.
Oh my god! Wow, I think we met.
Because don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, I think you can hire skilled performers and skilled directors and skilled writers and everything, and you can greatly increase the chances of a film being good. Mm-hmm. But I think there's still, even in the film with the greatest crew and cast ever, I think there is still a 1% outside chance that every day the lead actor's going to turn up shit-faced. Do you know what I mean? There's still an outside chance that it's going to be a terrible film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, like, first of all, before we get into this, you know, film is inherently subjective. You know,
yeah.
You can't say objectively that's a good film. Do you know what I mean? It's down to taste. Some things are objective in it. There are things that you can definitely sort of quantify with fact. But like, you can't tell someone they're wrong for liking a film. Not really. You can try and explain your point. You can try and say, I don't like it because of this, I think it failed here. But you can't say factually, you are wrong and I am right for liking this particular film. So just get that out of the way. We're not trying to objectively tell you what films are right and what ones are wrong. But I happen to think that Christopher Nolan's films, on the whole, are very well done. And because of meticulous planning and great actors and often a great script and great music and great visuals. I don't think it's like a sort of, well, we've got this shit. I mean, don't really know what to do. We don't really know what to do with it. Hopefully it just, happens. I think it's pretty meticulous.
I see the point that you're making, but I think that a lot of his films are kind of sort of wanky bullshit. I know that's a pretty hard term to come out of nowhere with. But, like, you watch quite a few of his films, and it's clear that Stephen Nolan. But it's clear that Christopher Nolan has made this film for himself in a strange way. Like, watching Interstellar, and you're like, okay, so time dilation is a thing, and now Matthew McConaughey is younger than his daughter, and okay, I get it, and all the pieces fall into place, and the music is straight bangers, but I didn't walk out of the cinema thinking, wow, my life has been changed.
No.
Like, people talk about Christopher Nolan's films as though they are some kind of a gift from the heavens.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're that good. I think they're good. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the sort of cultishness that comes with liking films, you know? There are films that I really like and there are films that I really don't like, but I'm not going to like join a fucking fan community over you know, films and like defend them on a dying hill. Like
Yeah, completely.
people who like get very vindictive about the films that they like and the films that they don't. I'm not for that. So is it like? But I still don't think that Interstellar is a bad film. I think it's actually a very good film. I've never watched a film and went, my life has been changed. I don't know anyone that's done.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like, oh, my life has been changed. But I think a film, a book, a TV show, anything can give you a new perspective on something. And you can watch it and say, oh, I'd never considered whatever it might be like that. Maybe this makes me feel a certain different way or whatever it might be.
I mean, I don't know. I think that there are films that just, I think, should just be made just to see what would happen. Like 1917, like, just technically, I just think it's a good film. But like in every other sort of like a quantifier, like the story, the characterization, it's pretty shit. I mean, I don't know who the soldiers are. One of them has a brother, really, and there's not a lot of character in it, and it's literally just following them. But like, just technically, I think it's just a film that should have definitely been made, just to see what would happen. And Interstellar has some good moments in it. Some of it's a bit sort of like the sort of ending bit with the wankiness and the time and all that. Yeah, I think that gets a bit much.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a good film. I enjoyed it when I was watching it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't know if you ever played, like, modded Minecraft when you were younger, but I certainly fucking did.
Yeah, I did.
And the enjoyment I get from Christopher Nolan films is the same enjoyment I got from that. The idea of, okay, now everything is set up, like, perfectly aligned dominoes, and I just have to knock the end one over and all the dominoes fall down. And it's this sense of, like, logistical joy, almost. That's the feeling I get from watching Christopher Nolan films. I don't enjoy myself, really. I think that's the way I feel about Christopher Nolan films, is this logistical joy. And I just find it bizarre to see people who I feel are kind of in this Christopher Nolan cult that, like, sort of say, oh, I absolutely adore every single one of his films. He can't do anything wrong. I just love all of them. They're great. For example, the thing that kind of made me click my fingers and go, okay, yes, this is what I think, is there's this film reviewer and YouTuber and writer and director, and he does loads and loads of different stuff, called Jack Howard. And he's on YouTube, and I really love his comedy sketches. I would highly recommend go and check them out. They're bloody hilarious. But he also loves Christopher Nolan films. And I saw this tweet that he made. That doesn't sound right, but I think it is. This tweet that he wrote a couple of days after he saw Tenet, where he said, the first time I watched Tenet, I didn't understand it and I didn't like it. The second time I watched Tenet, I kind of started to understand it, but I didn't really like it that much. And the third time I watched Tenet, I absolutely loved it. Okay,
right.
But shouldn't the mark of a good film be that it engages you and you understand it from the start? There is value in rewatching a film to get additional enjoyment from it, but if you watch a film and think, well, that wasn't very good, and then you have to watch it two more times before you even start to like it, doesn't that strike you as maybe it's not a good film?
Maybe, but I think that there are films that are definitely sort of designed to be watched more than once. You know, to sort of like to see things that you didn't see the first time. I think that's. I personally really like films like that. There's a film called we reviewed it. It's called Under the Skin. It's like If you watch that film first time and never watch it again, I defy like just never having heard anything about it. You're probably just gonna go, what the fuck is this? Do you know what I mean? But
that's where I disagree. I watched it once when we reviewed it, and I haven't watched it since, and I did enjoy it.
Well, yeah, But you know what? Like, okay, try to think. Have you? Alright, okay. Let me ask you a personal question then. Have you never seen a film that you've went, "What the fuck was that about?" and then watched it again and then sort of got a better understanding of it? I've done that loads of times.
No, not really.
Really?
The closest I can come to that is I went to the cinema when Mad Max Fury Road came out. And I sat in the cinema and I watched that with my dad. I think I watched it with my dad. And then I think we went for some food afterwards and we both sat there eating going, that was just a bit shit. I just didn't like that. That didn't make any sense. I didn't enjoy it. Tom Hardy kind of couldn't speak, but then he kind of could. But then also they were draining his blood. But we were just talking about how we didn't really like it and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I have not watched it again since.
Right. Well,
I have never before in my... do you think that if I watched Fury Road again, I would suddenly like it?
I don't know. I haven't seen Fury Road, but I just think that, like, case in point, my dad, who I made him watch, I didn't make him, I didn't hold a gun to his head, asked him to watch...
Dad, you're going to watch this film.
You're going to watch this fucking film, man. Asked him to watch There Will Be Blood. And I knew that he wouldn't that he wouldn't like it to begin with. And he started watching it. And by the end of it, he was like, what the fuck was that? And then, like, a couple of days later, he said, son, see, the more I think about that film, There Will Be Blood, it's actually starting to grow on me. I think I'd need to watch it again to just, like... Because there's weird stuff that happens in that film, but there's also stuff that you can recognise. Like, I just don't think... I don't want to look like a film that I just see and then just know everything about it immediately when I watch it. I like the idea that you have to sort of have a bit of, do a bit of homework, sort of look at it a bit more deeply rather than just, nah, I didn't like it first time, so it's shit. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. I think there is value in watching a film and thinking about it. Yeah. And that makes me sound like even more of a pretentious wanker than I am. But there is value in watching a film and saying, like, okay, well, that was confusing or I didn't understand it, so I'm going to go away and think about it. And you analyse what you watched. And, like, I was like this, and I know it's not a film, but the first time I read Watchmen, I finished Watchmen and I thought, oh, well, that was a bit weird and I didn't really make any sense of that. What was that about? Yeah. And then I thought about it more over the coming days and I thought, actually, yeah, that was good. And I thought... What is the core point that it was trying to make and stuff? But my point is, I didn't need to read it more than once to understand the core message of what it was about. Yeah. I think that's my main fault with certainly the Christopher Nolan films I've watched, is that they need to be watched and then explained to you. I think it frustrates me when a film or even an episode of a TV show or a book or something, when it can't deliver a message in that one capsule. It needs the capsule and also another little bit of explanation. Do you know what I mean? It really sort of grinds my gears in a strange way. There's this I hate saying, oh yeah, there's this quote that somebody said, because it makes me sound like, again, even more of a pretentious wanker. But there's this idea of, like, if you can't explain something to a child, then maybe you don't really understand it. And I feel like that's the way I feel about a lot of extremely over-the-top, pretentious, confusing films, is maybe if you can't explain it to me cohesively and coherently in a single envelope, maybe you haven't succeeded.
Yeah, but I don't know, because I think there are things that you can understand on a sort of different level without being able to explain it. Like, people have that all the time, like having feelings that you can't really put into words, but you just get it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's an important sort of instinct that human beings have, and I think that there are types of media out there that exist only to have discussion. There's a great video by H Bomber Guy. We reference him quite a bit, and it's on a game called Pathologic, and he makes it clear that the game is not fun. It's not like engaging at all. It's incredibly difficult and very unrewarding. But like, when you play it and you but it's really more interesting to talk about what it means and what it's trying to say rather than actually playing the game. So I think there are types of media out there that should just be there to be discussed.
I agree with you on that point, but then I also think that in that video he did say, Pathologic isn't fun to play, and it's not like an enjoyable experience, and I don't think you should play this game. This is not a fun game. You shouldn't spend your time doing this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point I'm coming at it from. If I'm not enjoying myself, because I would class being interested in something as enjoying myself in a strange way, but I don't know. I think a lot of Christopher Nolan films are kind of... that's the vibe I get from them, is wanky bullshit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's just kind of making a point, and then he's going to just say it again for the next 2 hours, and I still won't care. Maybe I'm being slightly too harsh on Christopher Nolan, and I need a binge watch of all of his films.
I think I probably need to watch them again, because I haven't seen Inception or like Interstellar for like a while. I don't. I've never came away from like a Christopher Nolan film thinking, "What was that though?" You know, like you were saying, like if things need a bit of extra explanation, then maybe they're not as good. But like, I've never sort of went, "What the fuck was that? What does that mean?" It's like, no, I think I actually like films that do that. There's a great director called Paul Thomas Anderson who directed There Will Be Blood, and all his films are exactly like that. So I have no idea what they mean on the first viewing, and then I have to watch them again and sort of watch them a couple of times to go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, I like that. I like that sort of jigsaw puzzle of like trying to, what is this filmmaker trying to say? What they try to say about themselves or people? It's like, I think it's a bit pretentious. Like you're saying, it's a bit wanky bollocks, but I think it's, I don't know. I think it's interesting. You know, people expressing ideas and shit.
Yeah, I think maybe I haven't stated my case quite as clearly as I wanted to. Because I do agree with you on that point. I think that a film that you come away from and feel you need to think about it for a bit, I think that's objectively good. But I think a film you come away from angry and confused, do you know what I mean? I think that's where the line is drawn for me. If I come away from a film and go, well, I'm bloody furious that I spent £7 on a cinema ticket and now I just don't even understand it. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't like that experience.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I wouldn't... Yeah. I would be pissed off if I'd went to the cinema and then just not got it at all and then left, having paid money for it. Yeah. But if I've got the DVD of it that I can watch over and over again, I would... I suppose that's a bit different. But I don't know. I just think... I like the idea that films aren't sort of... They aren't concrete enough for you to say, this is what it's about, and it always will be. It's like, I like films that give a bit of sort of...
and you can take a separate meaning from things. Oh, maybe it's one big metaphor for whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just me.
No, I think, yeah. Well, that is one of my most controversial opinions, which says a lot about me as a person. I don't like the films of Christopher Nolan that much.
Well, I mean, that's a valid opinion.
Indeed it is. I remember when Dunkirk came out, which was another Christopher Nolan one. I was on set of 4 O'Clock Club and loads of people were saying like, I'm going to go and watch Dunkirk this weekend. And someone said to me, are you going to go and see Dunkirk? And I was like, oh no, sorry, that wasn't it. I said, somebody asked me what I was doing at the weekend. And I said, I think I'm going to go to the cinema. And they said, are you going to go and see Dunkirk? And I said, no, I'm going to go and see Cars 3. Because Cars 3 had just come out. And don't get me wrong, Cars 3 was not a masterpiece of cinema, but I certainly enjoyed Cars 3 more than I would have enjoyed Dunkirk.
Have you seen Dunkirk?
I haven't.
Although perhaps I should. You can't say that. You can't say that, then. You can't say that.
No. But
you can. Obviously you can, but I don't know. I haven't seen it either, so I don't know either. But I know that it got buzz, but I'm not the one to sort of believe what people say. Like, Joker was heavily panned when it came out, and I think that's a pretty good film.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's maybe I think I'm thinking too much about this, and now I'm thinking about Cars 3. It kind of was actually quite good. Like, I mean, I
haven't seen Cars 1 or 2 or 3.
What? You haven't seen any of the Cars films?
Nope.
Chloe is presently in here with me. I just said that, and she literally is doing the exact same face as that painting on the screen. She is like, oh my god, what? The Cars films are really good.
Well, maybe we could review them then. And do you know what I'm going to say? Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm
What?
going to say, what a bunch of wanky bollocks. What about... Just to be better. Because I am a Christopher Nolan cultist, okay?
I've watched Tenet 300 times and now I'm starting to understand it.
It only cost me...
Anyway.
It only cost me 200 quid, but I finally am beginning to get what this film's about. Oh, God. But yeah.
Right. Anyway, shall we talk about 3 films? I mean, I don't think this is a controversial opinion. I think these might be the 3 greatest films of all time.
Yeah, same. In case you couldn't tell, we're talking about Star Wars.
No, Danny, they know what we're talking about because I've said it's the greatest films of all time,
Oh, of
and
course.
these are the greatest films of all time.
Yeah, we're talking about The Room, and
We're talking about The Room and Dunkirk, and
I don't know about Dunkirk. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. But
I mean, neither have I. But
it's probably it's probably all right. I don't think.
I will. Judging from my past record of watching Christopher Nolan films, I imagine I would dislike it.
Yeah,
The
but
chances are I would not like it.
as soon as we watch it, we'll let you know.
Yes.
But we are reviewing Star Wars, the prequel trilogy, and it's 3 films, hence the trilogy, and it's The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, and they are all directed by George Lucas, and they are all written by George Lucas and Rick McCallum. And
It's like, you know when you did like a group project in high school, but you
Yeah.
were the only one who did anything, so you'd be like, oh, written by Lewis Brindley, directed by Lewis Brindley.
yeah, exactly. And some guy called Rick gets in on it at the very end. It's like, yeah, Rick helped a wee bit. And they're starring Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, Ian McDiarmid, and Jake Lloyd. And
Indeed they
loads
are.
of other people. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson is in it as well. I like Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes. Yeah, I like Samuel L. Jackson.
Pretty good.
Glad we straightened that one out. But you got an opening statement.
Yeah. A very overly used metaphor about the fall of democracy that could have been really interesting. A space opera that has tonally jumped to a galaxy far, far away, but made the way for how the lore was to develop.
Too dense, too many planets, factions, and obscure people. Fucking hard to follow, and I just don't give a shit about any of these people.
Wow.
That was my experience of watching these films. Okay, Liam Neeson was cool, and that was about it, I think. Jar Jar Binks made me want to kill myself. Does that count as a strong reaction?
No, that's pretty. That's
par for the course.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
I see. Have you seen the conspiracy theory that Jar Jar Binks is
Yes.
actually a Sith Lord?
Yes.
What do you think of this?
Fucking stupid as fuck. Anyone that made that up. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you know, Star Wars, right, fans of Star Wars, I have never met a group of people that hate Star Wars more than people who like Star Wars, okay? And the amount of theories that came about, we'll get to the sequels obviously, but I have to give it to them. They are a creative bunch, and that one obscure character that was completely removed from the first film because George Lucas realised that it was just a racist stereotype is somehow the dark Sith Lord behind the scenes of the entire franchise. The conspiracy theory goes is that because Jar Jar was the one to announce that Chancellor Palpatine would get emergency powers, that he somehow engineered the entire thing, which is...
I bet he did.
Yeah, of course he did. Makes sense. This is not an excuse for the trilogy, okay? I hate when people say, oh, you need to watch this to understand this, right? Like, third-party media does not count when it comes to films. But the Clone Wars...
I think third-party media can add to, but I don't think it can excuse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, if it's a bad film, you can't just then say, oh, watch this and then it'll be good. No, that's bollocks.
Yeah.
But having said that, the Clone Wars makes this trilogy look so much more bearable. Like, it doesn't
Bearable.
make it doesn't make
them
it
good.
better. It just makes it a bit more sort of watchable. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check that. That's the animated one, isn't it? They made.
Yeah.
Did they make a movie of that, and then they also made a TV series?
Yeah, don't watch the movie. The movie's shite. Just watch the
I
TV
see.
show.
I think I actually saw the movie in the cinema.
Yeah, it was shite.
I have a vague memory of going to the cinema and watching it. I don't remember it, but yeah.
I bet you remember vomiting after seeing it. It was that shite. It's tucked away in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's a repressed memory of me watching the Clone Wars and just vomiting everywhere. I walked out of the cinema, and the cinema staff were like, "Oh my god, a child has just thrown up everywhere in that cinema," and that was what happened that day. Yep,
Definitely.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna say something that I liked about these films.
Okay.
The Liam Neeson and spiky red and black bloke.
Darth Maul.
Fight is cool.
Darth
Maul. That's cool. Duel of the Fates is a banger, and that's the end of that.
It's the only things you liked about these films.
Let me look at these notes. Yep.
Wow. Damn.
I think the character design is cool, obviously, and I like the concept of Jediism. It's interesting as an idea to have a religion in this sense, where there's this undeniable proof of its existence. I find that an interesting concept.
Yep.
But on the same level, that's just an objective thing about Star Wars on the whole. That's not limited to this trilogy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you.
What, anything you liked about this trilogy?
Yeah, quite a few things.
Oh, well, there we go.
The world building's there. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically how we see the Star Wars galaxy now. It was sort of vague, offhand comments before, but it's pretty bloated. A bit.
Yeah.
It's quite boring. But the world building's there. The lightsaber fights are better here than in any other Star Wars film. Like, just undoubtedly. The original trilogy's ones started off shit, got better, and then a little bit better.
I thought Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan was incredible.
Oh, it was amazing.
That jerky movements, those barely twitching type arms, that was fantastic.
Yeah. The sequel trilogy lightsaber fights are pretty shit. They're not as shit as the original ones. I just didn't like them at all. They're very sort of swingy and very sort of. It doesn't look as if it's.
What else are you meant to do with a sword, Dan?
Yeah, but you can clearly. It looks as if these people have had years of training, and are doing a dance. But when you watch the sequel trilogy, it looks as if they're just sort of doing slightly sophisticated sort of axe swings, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But I don't know.
Okay, I do know what you mean. It's I watched The Mandalorian for the podcast, but I enjoyed watching Rosario Dawson kill people with lightsabers. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Is she a good example of lightsaber fights compared to the rest of the canon, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Oh, well, good then.
Palpatine is one of the only saving graces of the prequels.
I see.
Ian McDiarmid, who plays the Emperor / Sheev Palpatine, Creamy Sheev, as the meme lords call him.
Right.
I really like the sort of political sort of manipulation of Palpatine as a character. He's very sort of interesting. I wish that the relationship between him and Anakin was spread out and more sort of explored a bit more, and that would explain his actions a little bit. Yeah, what else? I'm running out.
I ran out a while ago. The Phantom Menace is about trade embargoes. It's a film about tax, mate.
The Phantom Menace is shit. Okay.
Yes, it is.
There is no getting round that. Okay, the Trade Federation is racist as fuck. So is Jar Jar. The plot is boring. The politics is even more boring. Anakin is a whiny little shit who I hate with all my heart in that film. They should have just made him a teenager. He can't.
Also, a 9-year-old kind of saved the day. He was up in space, flying about and stuff. That was quite odd.
He's a Jesus baby who shows up.
He's like the chosen one, yeah.
Yeah. He can... Right, okay, so there's a huge sort of contention in the sequel trilogy. A character called Rey. I think I've discussed this before. She's called a Mary Sue.
The whole Mary Sue thing, yeah.
And she can fly the Millennium Falcon, but she says that she can also pilot ships and stuff like that, and people say, well, she can't fly the Millennium Falcon, that's ridiculous, okay? That's a different argument, but Anakin, who has fucking driven like a pod racer thing, can somehow fly like a Naboo fucking fighter and like blow up an entire space station. So don't fucking say that this character's overpowered. This is a child, okay? And it's like, well, the Force did it. Okay, well, the Force did it for Rey then, if that's what you're gonna say. Do you know what I mean? Bollocks. No, this is pod race. Shut the fuck up. What was promised is how Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader, and we don't get that until the third fucking film.
We don't. Anakin, right, okay, here's a question for you. Anakin appears to me, the unlearned weirdo from the Midlands, to be inherently poor at emotional control, which is something that the Jedi's value for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Does that mean, therefore, he inherently just makes a poor Jedi? Or is it just a case of circumstance? If he'd have never met Padme, and if he'd have never met half the people that have happened to him and stuff, would he be living like a... would he be a better Jedi if his life had just coincidentally been slightly different?
Yeah, that's a good point, because it seems as if he's even though his mum has died and he slaughtered a group of indigenous creatures, it's like that didn't tip him over the edge, but having a vision about his wife dying is the thing that made him kill the kids. It's like
yeah, that was a bit odd.
It was a bit strange. His motivations are fucked. They need to be really retconned for that to work. They were really sort of forced and very sort of sporadic. But I don't know. He's not very... I don't like him as a character. I think he's shit. I wasn't sorry when he became Darth Vader. He was always sort of weird and sort of arrogant and quite sort of aggressive. Oddly enough, the Clone Wars version of Anakin is a lot better. He's he's what you would expect. He's a sort of, fast talking, cocky kind of guy who it really cares about the people around him. But in this trilogy, he just seems like a sort of weird person who's really aggressive and is trying to be cocky. And it's I just don't buy it from what's been given. The dialogue is so shit. It's just how you supposed to act? With dialogue like that. But I'm being a bit harsh.
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's there's that. Plus, there's just I know I've already been a bit harsh on the Phantom Menace, but that opening title scroll is just it's incomprehensible. I understand all of those words, but I just don't want to. I'm just reading it thinking, so there's a person who's not allowed to do something, and now there's some kind of coup, and now there's a trade embargo. Oh, I just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think the strength of the original trilogy is that it's... What's the word I'm looking for now? It's it's understandable, because the motivations of the people doing things are motivations that you can understand.
Yeah.
So you open with characters' motivations being, well, I kind of want to make a change and I want to do good things in the universe. And that, I think a lot of people have that kind of that dream and that goal, and it's well, I want to do good for the world. I want to go and volunteer for the fire. I would say the fire police, but I want to volunteer at a food bank, and I want to do this. And they want to help the world. I think that's a common, understandable goal.
Yeah, definitely.
But then you open the Phantom Menace, and people's goals are to do with tax. To be honest with you, I pay my own tax, and I barely understand what I'm actually paying for, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of people, the tax is automatically taken out of their wages. Tax almost doesn't even come into consideration for a lot of people.
No.
It's a fact of life, but it's something that you just don't think about. It's on the periphery almost. So it's just not a relatable starting point, and I think it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If you get the foundations slightly wrong, the rest of the building will be very wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it could have worked if it was like maybe a sort of big business sort of thing, like curtailing the rights of a planet that's done nothing. But
yeah.
The plot that Darth Sidious was going on about, it was really convoluted, and there's a lot of holes in it. It's like he's engineered this situation so that the Chancellor, who's weak, there'll be a vote of no confidence, and he'll be voted out, and then he'll get voted in, so that he can remove the Trade Federation and that, and then he's going to engineer a war with like clone armies and that, like he controls the clone army, doesn't he? So why doesn't he just order all the clones to just kill all the what do you call it, the Jedi, just right away, instead of like engineering a war?
Well, that's I've got written down here. Why did the Emperor control everyone? Because it kind of doesn't make much sense. Like you say, when you take a step back, you're like, well, the things he's trying to achieve, he already had the power to achieve them.
Yeah.
But he wants to change things slightly before that happens. I don't know. I feel like it's both treating me like I'm an idiot and treating me like I'm much cleverer than I am.
Yeah.
And I am neither an idiot nor very clever. I'm just kind of normal, I think. And I feel like even within those parameters, I just don't get it. No. I don't get the motivations of the characters. I just don't understand it, really.
No. I don't think what should have happened at the end was that we are now going to change the Republic into the Empire. Maybe that could have happened off screen, and would everyone just be okay with that? Like a giant republic that's full of democratic systems just suddenly just go, there's been a war and the Jedi did some things apparently, and now we're an empire. Maybe for the foreseeable future, I'm going to have emergency powers to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's fine. And then off screen, maybe it becomes an empire. That's more interesting. But
yeah, and also more believable in a way. If you're, I mean, I know there is a rebellion and a coup, but if you just say, okay, and now it's an empire, you're begging for a coup.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Because we all know that even when coups happen in real life, God forbid anything changes. Eh? Bit of political satire there, Lewis.
Oh, he's done some satire there, everybody. Way. Right, going from political satire to an obscure question. I might have just misunderstood or misheard or something. Why can some people shoot lightning out of their hands? Why is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a Sith power.
Right.
It's like a dark...
Is it like an extension of the Force?
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. So there you go. Explained away. Perfect.
So, he can shoot lightning out of his hands, but it makes him go all weird and wrinkly.
Well, see, I think that was meant to
makes him
scar
look
him.
like he's had a bath for too long. Right.
I think that was meant to have made his face all messed up, but he just looks old. Just as if he's aged about 30 years and which I don't know. The fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's 20 years after the prequels where the original trilogy starts. So 20 years go by and Obi-Wan is now a pensioner. from being in his early 30s.
Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness in 20 years.
Yeah. So that didn't really make much sense.
Oh, I know, by the way, watching these films, I figured out, I sort of understood something you said in the previous podcast, where you said that in these films, it seemed like things were more technologically advanced.
Yeah.
I kind of understand what you mean. I think it's a limitation of making sci-fi at the time of making sci-fi. you watch very, very old episodes of Star Trek, and essentially they've just got what we have now. Like, the old 60s era Star Trek, you're like, oh, so they've got, like, mobile phones and automatic doors. And then you're like, then those are just things that we have in real life. But, so I think with the original trilogy being made in the 70s and the 80s, you're sort of bound by the constraints of what's around you at the time. What the furthest thing you can possibly imagine is determined by whatever you have. Do you know what I mean?
I'm gonna have to call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Because Rogue One, which is set like during the original trilogy and has the sort of updated sort of way of making stuff look, they don't change the technology to make it look more advanced. They just use the same technology, but just do it through computer animation, and it looks great. Looks fine.
Oh, okay. In that case, perhaps I'm wrong.
So George Lucas, you fucked it up. God's sake.
Nah, bloody George Lucas, hey.
Bloody George Lucas.
Okay, so right, a key part of the Emperor's plot is to wipe out the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I sort of have to speak this out loud because I struggle to sort of understand the Emperor's plan because it's so bizarrely convoluted. And he wants to kill the Jedi out because he knows that if he forms this empire, then they will try and stage a rebellion to liberate the universe, essentially. That's the goal, right?
I think he just wants power, doesn't he?
Yeah, but to consult... Yeah.
He wants the Jedi dead because they're going to oppose him, obviously. But what do you mean, like, he knows that a rebellion's going to start?
Because the Jedi are, like, honour-bound to do good or whatever.
Yeah, so that's why he tries to kill them all, yeah.
Yeah. It's just... I'm sorry, I've watched all three of these films, and I feel like I still don't understand the Emperor's plan. I've got written down here, what is the Emperor's actual goal? Is it just to get ultimate power?
Didn't he say it?
The end game?
Didn't he say it when he aged about 30 years? Unlimited power!
I see, so he wants unlimited power.
Yeah.
That's my problem with a lot of villains, is like...
it's quite boring.
It's like, well, yeah, okay. Well, what's unlimited power? That's not a goal. That's just a statement. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, my favourite villains are the ones where they have a clear sort of end goal, and they're like, well, I just want to earn X amount of money by robbing this bank so that I can retire. That's a clear plan, and they just happen to be a villain through happenstance more than anything. And then, right, here's a good example for you. Megamind, which in my opinion is one of the greatest films of all time, is, Megamind starts out with this very generalistic approach of, well, I want to do evil, and then he says about all these abstract goals that don't make very much sense. And then he achieves them, and he realises, oh, well, actually, now that I've achieved them, it's kind of just a bit shit. Now that I've actually done it, it doesn't really mean anything. Those goals weren't important.
It was the fight between him and Metro Man that he was really for, not to do evil, because he didn't do evil.
Yeah,
you can do horrible things without needing a hero to do it. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't his.
And so therein lies the question. Well, would Emperor Palpatine not eventually get to a Megamind stage where he's like, now I've achieved all of my eternal goals, and it's got to sit in this house doing nothing.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because we're going to third-party media again, and that doesn't influence my opinion on the films. They're shit. But Emperor Palpatine, characterized in other media, is a thrill seeker, and he likes the sort of danger of being nearly beaten. It's the sort of thrill that he enjoys. That's why in Return of the Jedi, he invited all the rebels to this one big location where the final Death Star was, and he put himself in that position because he enjoys the sort of thrill, the risk, like a gambler sort of almost.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a thing that they could have explored in the film. You can't rely on fucking comic books to do that for you, which would have been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, bizarrely, somehow, we've sort of come back round to what I was originally saying about if you can't make a point in the film and you require external sources of stuff to explain yourself,
Yeah.
maybe the film wasn't as good as you think it was.
Definitely.
Somehow we've circled back round.
In this context, I completely agree with you. And the fact is, we shouldn't even be talking about the Emperor's motivations. We should be talking about Anakin's. Because it's the promise was, do you want to see how Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader? Well, here we go. I'm going to make a trilogy for you, and it's going to be epic. It's like, I still don't fucking know why Anakin was still Darth Vader after he was put in the suit. The Emperor said, "It seems in your anger you killed your wife." As soon as he found out he had kids, surely he should have just been like, "What the fuck? You said she was dead. How could she have kids if she was dead?" It's like, that just makes no sense at all.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because then that sort of implies that Darth Vader in the original trilogy was just doing stuff because he was told to.
Yeah, and
which, while it's not a moral defense, is equally. It's not like he was deliberate. That's really weird.
Yeah, he didn't have anything left. He only had his anger, so he was just gonna rule the galaxy with the Emperor. And then he finds out his kids, and he doesn't think, wait a minute, he told me that I killed her, so how could he possibly... What?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. And then he goes to a meeting, and it's like, oh, Palps, what the fuck? What?
Palpy boy!
How, I thought she was dead, how can I have kids? And then, like...
The Force did it.
Palpatine turns into a TV and shouts "hungry" for 20 minutes. That's what the lightning is. It's just that's why he's aging. That's him just going hungry.
Yeah, that's what the lightning is, and it's turned blue because he's in space,
yep.
rather than being pink because he's on Earth.
Definitely.
Well, we've solved that one.
I have a theory.
Okay,
you know how the Wire in that Doctor Who episode was executed. And then flew across the stars. That's what Star Wars is about. Emperor Palpatine is the Wire, and gets thrown down the pit, and then escapes to London.
Maybe.
There you go.
Because long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
There you go.
Could be the 1940s in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe. There we go. We've connected the universes.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. They bring Palpatine back in the sequels because they ran out of shit.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point in chucking him down a big hole if you just... Fuck's sake.
I know. To be fair, it wasn't George Lucas's idea. To him, it was like, yeah, he's definitely dead. He's not coming back. And then J.J. Abrams was just like, yeet!
That is kind of annoying. I like J.J. Abrams a lot. And then I really liked the Star Trek reboots that he did. He did some other stuff as well that I really liked that I have completely forgotten. I mean, very quickly...
Wasn't entirely his fault, but we will get to
that. J.J. Abrams did Star Trek. Yeah, obviously I just said that. Come on, Google. Started with Super 8. I really like that. He did Mission Impossible 3. I really like that. He did. Come on, wakey. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I really like that.
Oh, is that the one with
films that I really liked?
Is that the one with John Goodman and Elizabeth Winstead? That's a really good film.
It's a really good film, and he did a lot of these Mission Impossible. I mean, they're a bit of a guilty pleasure because I know they're not profound or anything. But a lot of these Mission Impossible films, he was in either a director or a producer seat for them, and I really, really liked them. So it's quite annoying to find out that he got the reins to Star Trek and was just like, no, we're going to bring back this random character.
Star Wars. You committed treason.
I didn't even notice I did it, which makes it all the worse. That is annoying. But I remember one because the sequels came out while I was at college, and I remember a couple of friends of mine talking about something called Snoke. And I thought, well, that's a dumb fucking name.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a dumb character. Isn't he Andy Serkis that does Snoke?
That's right.
Okay. Well, I like Andy Serkis.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, even though I've just spoiled it. I'll let you experience that yourself. But yeah, I have a few more things on these films.
Yeah, hit me with it.
It's kind of understandable why Anakin didn't like the Jedi as much, because the Jedi are these sort of really sort of culty sort of celibates, really, who just are kind of annoying, and they tell people not to feel or get attachments, otherwise you're going to become a mass murdering cyborg, which is a bit much, bit on, a bit far fetched, But I guess that's what happens.
No, I don't think that's the lesson to take away from these films. I don't think the lesson, if you get married, you will become Darth Vader. I don't think that's the lesson.
Yeah, if you love someone, you will become a genocidal monster.
That's what I took away from it, of course.
Why do you think I'm not having kids, Lewis? I think it... Did you follow the sort of storyline with, like, the separatists?
Not really, no. I was kind of aware that it was happening, but...
Yeah, okay, so...
I think I didn't really give enough of a shit to pay that much attention.
Okay, so there's this sort of subtext that isn't really spoke about in the films. Again, it's fucking third-party media that has to do the work for these films, which is really annoying.
I know, Sorry, yeah, go on. You say your bit, and then I'll go on some stupid rant. Go on.
Yeah, but the Republic, and more so definitely the Empire, is very sort of speciesist and human-centric. It doesn't really like sort of alien races. And the Separatists were like a group of people who were like, fuck this, let's just leave and let's do our own thing because we're getting treated like shit. And it's
and Christopher Lee was in charge, wasn't he?
That's right. But he was like... Yeah. He was and he wasn't. He was like manipulating them the same way that the Chancellor was manipulating the Republic. So it was like a sort of... Yeah. And it's interesting because in the Clone Wars, again, the Separatists are like portrayed as like just like decent people who are just trying to get out of this bureaucratic system that doesn't give a shit about them.
Yeah.
So I that could have been something that could have been interestingly explored, because it's grievances that could rise to like a tyrant taking control. But no, that's nowhere to be seen. Instead, it's about fucking trade embargoes and clone armies smashing into each other. I don't know.
No, I know exactly what you mean. That's Right, it's time for Lewis Brindley's pointless rant of the week. I know what you're saying about third-party media. I feel especially keenly, because I think my best example of it though is the Marvel Netflix series.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of them?
I watched Jessica Jones. I really liked it.
Yep, Jessica Jones was really good. Daredevil was really good. Iron Fist was not so great, but it had some good moments. Luke Cage was really good. But the thing that really annoyed me when I was watching them was, why are Marvel churning out these films that are literally sort of cookie cutter, the same film again and again?
Yeah.
And yet you've got relatively independent production teams that have the creative freedom to hire people who do slightly different things, or write slightly different scripts, or whatever it might be, and they're making way better stuff. Like, I remember there was this one bit in, I think it was Daredevil Season 1, where he sort of discovers that this I think it's a child is being held hostage in this building full of like mobsters, and he goes into this building and he beats up the mobsters and gets the child out. And it's like, okay, great. And if that was an Avengers film or a Captain America film, that'd be like a 30-second cutaway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But then in this sequence of this there was this unbroken Steadicam shot where literally the camera went up and down this very, very long corridor, and up and down and up and down and up and down. And you just saw Daredevil literally coming in and out of rooms and throwing people into the corridor and beating them up and then moving on to the next room. And it was just a really interesting look at this sort of very systematic approach to like, okay, I'm like a trained fighter and this is how I'm going to deal with this problem of trying to take on 20 people all at once or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was just like a really interesting camera work, really interesting acting work, really interesting stunt work. But then it's, again, third-party media is doing the heavy lifting, which is just a shame, really.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. It's like...
Especially in something like Star Wars or Marvel, where they've got more money than God. They've got enough money to hire the best of everybody to do stuff, and yet they are not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately that is the reason for third-party media to these big companies. It's like... Yeah. They want to make more money, sadly. But if you can't explain the core tenets of what you're trying to say in a film, it's not a good film. Third-party media can be interesting. It can tell you little nuanced things that maybe you didn't get or didn't know about, but it shouldn't have to explain basic sort of fundamental plot points of your story at all. That's just nonsense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's something I liked about the Mandalorian. I know we've talked about this again, but like it's what I liked about the Mandalorian is it expanded the universe rather than sort of colouring in a bit that was left as a line drawing.
Yeah.
That was what it felt like. Oh well, now that we're going to look at the aftermath of Luke and Leia's rebellion. We're going to look at the aftermath of that, and we're going to say, what does that look like then? What do these clone troopers look like? What are Mandalorians doing now? And that was what I really liked about it, rather than, okay, let's just run through the numbers, and okay, so now we've got to have a bloke with a glowing stick has got to cut someone. Right, okay, Jeff, can you bring in the bloke with the stick, please? Do you know what I mean? I'm just glad that it's not more of that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree.
This has been an oddly sort of, not insular episode, but like, we seem to have started on a point that I made about Christopher Nolan's films, and then we've kept referring to that point. This has been an oddly... If we'd have scripted this, I'd say we did a really good job. But instead, I think we just fluked it all the way through.
Yeah, we did. We normally just chat utter shite, but there's been a sort of thematic through line throughout this episode. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm running out of notes, actually.
I am also out of notes, yeah.
Shall we jump to closing statements?
We should, but I just had a thought. Right.
Okay.
Why did the Jedi have long hair and then put plaits into it? Why don't they do it like a vampire, like a Viking? Do you know what I mean? With the big plaits in the beard, like Thor did in Avengers Endgame, with the big plaits in the beard and stuff. I think that would be really cool, but no, they don't.
Maybe they don't know what Vikings are.
Well, yeah, maybe there's no such thing as space Vikings. It's a good point. Yeah, okay, I'll let you have that
There should be.
There should be space Vikings, and yet there are not.
Fucking get on it, George. I mean, make your comeback.
Or
buy Star Wars back off of Disney and just let's start a new trilogy about space Vikings.
Yeah, and rip off that one episode of Doctor Who with Odin in it.
Oh yeah.
And also Maisie Williams was in it and all that.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But yeah, definitely.
Right, have you got a closing statement then?
Yes, a trio of very flawed films that have bad acting, convoluted plans, and overabundance of CGI, but has a great amount of world building as well as the best lightsaber fights of the trilogy. I'm torn, not really, they're shit, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel much the same. A trio of unusually dense and confusing films, which I didn't enjoy. Duel of the Fates is a banger. And that's one of the only good things I liked about these films.
True.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that one up.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's time for some shilling.
It is some time for some shilling. Come on, hit me with that shill.
I'm going to do it as fast as I can.
Fantastic. I can't wait.
Here we go. I am on Instagram at O'Hiram. I'm on Facebook at Daniel K. Actor. I'm on Twitter at Kerzo2000. What are you on, Lewis?
I'm on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley. I'm on Twitter at Lewis Brindley4. And I have a Facebook page called Lewis Brindley. Also, the show has a Facebook page called Shouting Into the Void, and the show has an Instagram account called Shouting Into the Void Pod.
We're on Pod. Good? Yes. Yeah. I was on a roll. You fucked it. You fucked it. We're on Podomatic. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel. We're on Deezer. We're on Google Podcasts. And we're on Amazon Podcasts. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare it at all would be really, really good. We're on Patreon. I'm going to go slow for this because I really care about patrons. We want to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
And Natalie.
Thank you, one and all. You mean the absolute world to us because you let us do this show where sometimes, like today, all the dominoes line up perfectly and we have a thematic through line throughout the episode. And then we ruin it by doing some confusing fast talking at the end.
Yeah, no one knows where we are or what we're doing.
Yep. If you did actually want to listen to the fast talking bit, we have link trees and stuff where you can go and take a look at our social medias and stuff like that. So you can go.
I feel as if we should just say that from now on because I feel bad every week. Let's see if someone's released a video on YouTube and they do over 30 seconds of shilling. I'm just fuck off. I mean, it just puts me off. Maybe we should just go check our link trees in the bio. There you go. And that's half of it.
In the description.
half of it done.
linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. And what are you, O'Hiram?
Yeah.
And the shouting into the void is just shouting into the void, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there we go. That's we've nailed it there.
Maybe we'll organise that for next week.
Okay.
Get it right. We also have
60 episodes deep. Start doing that right.
we also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. If you want to get yourself something, please do. If you don't. We are partnered with an amazing company called Right Side Yarns, and we have created a splendid Oscar-winning ad for them, and you're gonna love it. You've probably heard it before, but here it is. Now.
Danny, I've got some amazing news.
Oh, really? What?
I'm going to make you a hat.
Thanks. But why?
Well, because Right Side Yarns, who sell beautiful and unique wool, have recently released a new range.
Oh, I've heard of them. Aren't they that fantastic Scottish business that sells high-quality hand-dyed products perfect for crafting with?
They certainly are, and they're sponsoring the show.
Really? Have they heard the show?
Yes, and apparently they like it. Kezia, the owner of the business, has given us a generous 15% off code for any of our listeners to use.
Is that why you've got Void 15 written in your hand?
It is! If you or any of our listeners would like to use the code, simply enter Void15 at checkout with a capital V.
Great! Where do I check out?
You can go to their website at rightsideyarns.co.uk or check them out on Instagram at Kezia_rightsideyarns.
Fantastic! This hat you're making me better be good. Oh, it just gets better every time I hear it. You know, it's just...
It does. You know what it's like? It's like a fine wine that just gets better with age.
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly what it's like. Yeah, no, go and check out Right Side Yarns. Kez is a really good egg, and she makes absolutely amazing products. Do make sure to go and check it out. And don't forget to use code VOID15 with capital V at checkout, and you get a bit of money off. So thank you very much.
Definitely. And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with a fantastic company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, where she crochets things and she's really good at it. She has a beautiful Instagram feed that is definitely worth going and liking and following and checking out and doing all that sort of stuff at Number 12 Crochet Avenue. It's those letters and words, no numbers, no punctuation. Go and take a look. It's a gorgeous Instagram feed. She makes beautiful things and says awesome stuff about the things. So go and check it out. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Well, that was the prequels. There you go.
Indeed it was. And now we're going to do the sequels.
Yes.
With BB-8.
Yeah, it's his story.
It's his story, yep. Not Ray or John Boyega or Oscar Isaac.
No.
It's BB-8. It's him.
It's BB-8's
he's the main
story.
character.
He's the protagonist.
I say him. He's a robot.
Yeah, that's weird. Why is the R2-D2 and BB-8 like gendered? What the fuck? And
yeah, that is a good point.
C-3PO maybe because he, you know, like he's a stereotypically male voice, but like I don't know.
R2-D2 is literally just kind of a cylinder.
Yeah.
And BB-8 is just a sphere.
He's literally just like a Dalek, but not as interesting.
It does feel kind of like it feels rude to refer even to inanimate objects as it, in a way. I would often refer to like anything, a keyboard as he or she or whatever. I might be more likely to refer to it as that. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I think.
I mean, maybe I think we've branched off a wee bit. I mean, maybe that's something we can look into. But you know, I don't even think about it. You know. But there you go. We'll get.
There we go.
We'll discuss that next week.
Indeed, we will. That stunning topic where there is certainly more to talk about than that we just covered. No, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we will see you then, and we will hear you, smell you, create a fucking massive plot contrivance about the fall of democracy next time.
Indeed we will. Thank you very much for listening.
Goodbye.